Every evening, TVJ's Primetime News brings you the major news events of the day, as well as other reports on issues that you should find informative and interesting. As comprehensive as our reports are, there are some that demand more discussion time. Welcome to Primetime News Plus, where we do just that, take our news reports further. Now, I'm Herman Green. The royal visit of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge again brought international attention to Jamaica. Now, it has also renewed calls for reparation from Britain for the atrocities of the slave trade. But what exactly would reparations from Britain look like for Jamaica? Realistically, how do we actually get to that point? Well, the good news is we are not starting from scratch in trying to make reparations a reality. The Center for Reparation Research at the University of the West Indies, MONA, is one of several groups shaping the construct of such an agreement. Now, Omar Ryan of the Reparations Research Center is here to give us some insight. Mr. Ryan, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, greetings, Herman and
Good.
TVJ team.
Right. Now, before we start, there's one thing I want to highlight. Of course, the Duke and Duchess were here the other day. This is Prince William's comment about the slave trade. Basically, it has caused some issues, some controversy. Let's listen to that before we get into the discussion.
I want to express my profound sorrow. Slavery was abhorrent, and it should never have happened.
We have been looking at that and realizing, everybody agrees, it's not an apology. Based on the fact that it seems as if Britain is basically not ready to apologize as yet. Is reparation from Britain just wishful thinking, Mr. Brown?
Ryan, yes.
Yes.
It certainly is not wishful thinking because we have several precedents for reparations that have been paid out to people who were wronged. And we will start with the Germans paying reparations to the victims of the Holocaust. And that is the most famous case. But you also have instances where the Japan was also made to pay reparations for war crimes committed in World War II. Even those who found those crimes morally repugnant and did not commit any themselves. Even the US paid reparations to the Japanese that were incarcerated after World War II. So, and even more recent, we have the paying of reparation to the Mama victims in 2013, that was 9 years ago, by the same United Kingdom government to the victims of the Mama unrest that was in Kenya 1952. And so we have several instances of precedents, I would say, that the Caribbean reparation movement can use as a guide to receiving reparations. And the CARICOM Reparations Commission developed a 10-point plan to show the public what reparations can look like. And first of all, it constitutes a full formal apology. And what does an apology look like? An apology is really an acceptance of the wrong and of not of the wrong, but responsibility. You know, your contribution to the wrong.
Right, and basically what we've seen in this visit.
And pledge, yes.
It doesn't seem like Britain is ready for such a discussion.
I think it's a process because when you look at the reparation that was given to the Jews for the Holocaust in World War II, you find as well that there was some denial, and not the Jews themselves not even wanted what they would call at the time blood money. But after a time with public education campaigns and people realizing that this is really due, you know, the Jews accepted reparations and the Germans gave them reparations. So I don't think we have to worry because I think what we've seen in the Caribbean for the past 15 years and worldwide is an entire global movement. As Professor Beckles would have said, that reparations is the biggest political tide of the 21st century. So I think there are more cause for hope rather than us saying that, well, there's, you know, we might not get reparations.
Okay, you're the Center for Reparation Research. Just give us an idea how long you have been operating And what do you see reparation to Jamaica now looking like and how soon?
Well, Reparations Center at the UWI started in 2017, but work and research in the area has been going on for a long while, for at least 2 decades, by at least our 2 leading professors, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, the Vice Chancellor, and our director at the center, Professor Vereen Shepherd. So, and what reparations, as I said, the Reparations Center works closely with the CARICOM Reparations Commission, and we're really looking at the 10-point plan that was developed. And 1 is a full and formal apology. 2, indigenous peoples development programs. 3, funding for repatriation to Africa. And the Rastafari community has been calling for this for decades. And we have 4, the establishment of cultural institutions and the return of cultural heritage. 5, addressing and remedying the public health crisis. And 6, education programs. 7, the enhancement of historical and cultural knowledge exchanges. 8, psychological rehabilitation as a result of the intergenerational transmission of trauma. And 9, the right to development through the use of technology. And lastly, debt cancellation and monetary compensation. So,
as you see, would we have to go through this list in that order?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
But the apology should be the first.
Because, yes, that's the reason why it's number 1, a full and formal apology. Because with a full and formal apology, even if the states do not commit, and when I'm talking about states, I'm talking about states like Britain, who committed the atrocities of chattel enslavement. And if they do not accept to pay restorative justice, an action can be taken in court. But I think that a court is not necessary. I think that over time, the British people and the British government themselves would realize that it's time to just accept their responsibility in the gross chattel enslavement and stop the neglect and the denial. Because at some point, reparation will be, I'm very, very hopeful.
Okay, we're wrapping it up now, but one thing I want to ask, what do you say about an education campaign? Very quickly, because some persons might believe reparation means $1 million to each of us. What in terms of an education campaign, is there anything like that in the plans?
Yes, the truth is because of the COVID recently and lockdown, we haven't been able to do a lot of public education campaigns that we've always been doing. But there are always public education campaigns on radio, in print media, and every 2 weeks there is a publication in the Gleaner, on the Sunday Gleaner, reparation conversations for those who would like to read and see, what's happening with reparations and some of the important issues that are considered in reparation.
All right, good. Thank you very much. That's Omar Ryan of the Center for Reparation Research at the University of the West Indies, Mona. Now, April marks the beginning of the government's legislative and financial year. In March, Parliament spent 2 weeks debating spending plans in the budget debate. What significant changes were made? What will that mean for businesses and the average Jamaican? Is the debate still even relevant in this current format? Primetime News Plus will be looking at all that. Watch this space.